Hey guys, I'm back with another video. Today we'll be doing what if deku had nuclear release. Now, nuclear release is just a basis of what I want something to be. I'm just gonna use nuclear release or nuclear quirk. So just basically nuclear radiation or anything that has to do with any of that. Nuclear radiation. By nuclear, I just mean yeah, nuclear radiation. I should have put that in the thumbnail, but just nuclear. Quirk. Yeah, the name is nuclear quirk. It is like he's gonna be using nuclear radiation most of the time. But some of the powers will probably have no coordination with nuclear radiation, but some will. Just know this. I'm using this as a basis, and to actually make this make sense, I have to boost Deku's intelligence by a lot because he needs to understand nuclear radiation to use his powers. So I'm gonna give him a very increased learning capacity and just the smartness in general. Now, and this will benefit my favor what I want to do, so I just got it. So Deku is in his room working on something. Well, on the outside, you could hear Inko and Hazashi Hazashi Midoriya or Inko and Hazashi Midoriya yelling about something. But Deku's paying no mind to that. He's working on something with spare parts that he found in a junkyard. Things like little TVs, washing machines, a lot of other stuff. Computers, broken computers. And he even fixed his own computers and he has his own computers in his room. And he's working on something. Now now the Midoriya household is kinda bad. They're in a bad financial problems, and Hazashi wants to leave, and he would just yeah, he wants to leave and he ends up leaving, and Inko ends up going depressed, but she doesn't start eating a lot. I don't understand why she started eating. I know she was like depressed, and because some part of her didn't feel like she believes in her son. I cannot remember what it was. I'm sorry, but I don't check up on that shit much. Anyways, so then people knock on her door. I'm skipping more forward very fastly. People is knocking on her door and she answers, and they say that they came to see an Izuku Midoriya. And at that point, Izuku had just exited his room for the first time in at least 14 months. Like, he's been in his room for 14 months. Uh, Midoriya or Izuku would would come out and say hi. He will said, "I come to show you my invention." He will have a little tiny capsule in hand. They will ask what it does. He has said it's best to demonstrate than actually explain it, because explaining is very hard to do. Naruto will Deku would press a button little on the little capsule, and he would throw it towards the chair. Then the chair will bust into smoke, and then the only thing that would be left there was the capsule. Then I asked, what did it do? They saw that the thing disappeared. Did it make it invisible? What did it do? Did it destroy it? Uh, Midoriya then went outside, and they followed him, and he pelted back on the. He clicked the button again and pelted on the floor, and poof, in the smoke, there was the chair. Now, Asa then explained, the capsule condensed and shrinked the chair to a point where it could go into the capsule. And when I pressed the button, it sealed it. Then when I press the button again, it unseals the capsule. It sees the chair from the capsule. They are so impressed by this new technology, and they bring him to a company to give him funding to make more of these, so this could practically change the world. After over years, Asta's family become billionaires because they're raking in that bank. Because let's be honest, who doesn't want to lift, lift? Uh, fuck. Okay, they're just being lazy, right? So a lot of people is buying it, and it's really helpful. And yeah, they're profiting, uh, and they're raking in that bank. Like low key, they're raking in that bank. It's on to the point where Deku has to do political marriages. So the first one would be Todoroki, which is a girl in this one. Todoroki, because that's in the daughter of Endeavor. Then the second one would be Mina, no, Mina, the one with the acid, because it would go well with nuclear nuclearization acid or nuclear acid. Yeah, it would go good with like Deku's quirk. So like it's going the political marriages is going to people that have high power in the world, and then p- things that will go good with them quirks. But don't fear, Midoriya knows all of these people. He chose them because they were his friends. You see, Deku technically doesn't go to school because remember he's a genius. So anything they could teach him at school, he already knows. So it wasn't really any help for him to go to school. So Deku's always by like he's in a league of his own, and he doesn't need to go to school. So like low key, Deku decides. Deku decide. So Mina, then it would be Suyu, which is Froppy. If you don't know, Froppy Suyu. Her real name is Suyu. I think her real name is Suyu. I'm gonna call her Suyu anyways. The frog girl, yeah, cause she has a corrosive acid, so it would just be the same thing as Misa, nuclear corrosive acid. So acid. So, but we never see her use it though. Like she has a corrosive acid something in her body because of her frogness or something to digest food better. I can't remember what it was. It was just something. Then we have Uraka. No, Toga. Nuclear transformation. Yeah, nuclear transformation. So then it will be Toga. So yeah. Uraraka is still gonna be there, but like Toga is gonna be. Because if you don't know, Toga is my best girl. I love Toga. She's a baddie. If you didn't know, Toga's a baddie. Anyways, it'll be Toga too. So I was going to make Toga a villain and keep her a villain actually, but I decided not because Toga is bad and Deku will hit that shit tonight today. Anyways, no, I am a little sleepy because it is 11 and I just woke up because I went to sleep very early this morning. Well, no, this evening, and I was supposed to like upload this video in the evening, but remember, I fell asleep, so I'm making up for it. So that's why my voice sounds so dull and just non giving a fuck because I'm sleepy AF. But like, anyways, so you would ask me? No, I should put Momo in there because Todoroki's a girl. Yeah, Momo too. Like, yeah, Momo, Yaya Rozu. Yeah, right, Yaya Rozu. Anyways, Nard, as Deku is well, they're all his girlfriends and soon to be his wives actually, but that's becoming when Deku's 16. They're only 15. No, he's 15 when anime starts, and he'll be 14. He's 14 now. So he's gonna get married at 16 to um Momo, Toga, um Mina, um Suyu, Uraraka. I think that's it. I think that's it. Although my favorite ship is female Bakugo and Deku, I'm not gonna do that for that one because I'm not gonna make the mistakes that I do with Naruto with this. I'm not gonna stop, but like I'm not gonna do the same mistakes that I did with that, and I just kept on doing Hinata all the freaking time, and I acknowledge it, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop it though. Like Hinata is still my best babe. Who doesn't want a girl like Hinata? I don't understand y'all people. Like y'all want Sakura, but you don't want Hinata. You better get out my face before I give you a two piece with no combo, bruh. Anyways, so Deku, I mean Izuku, fuck Izuku Midoriya. What I was saying before? Shit. So I was saying he's going on dates with all these people, and they actually have a deep relationship with him because they were friends before this. And I think I have to make Toga a little bit younger. I think because I'm not 100% sure if Toga is the same age as Deku or like 2 to 3 years older than him. I can't technically remember, but I know her backstory though. And then actually, I think her backstory is not the worst, but it's the most interesting of how it played out. Her parents told her to basically suppress her emotion, her drive, and the reason for that drive was her quirk. Not only she wanted it in any place, it was just the drive of her quirk, not her. But her parents discarded that side of her. To be honest, who wouldn't? Like, man, they are in the wrong, but they're also doing the most technical thing, which was to be show with her urges. But how Deku has something for Toga, so like yeah. But so Deku was working on a quirk suppression. Cause if the problems on not suppression, quirk recalculation, not recalculation. I don't know. So it's basically a device where you can turn off your mutation or your quirk at will. Because if you noticed, yo, people be looking fucked up AF in My Hero Academia. Low key, I'm not gonna lie to you and say they're beautiful in the heart. Bro, they ugly AF. I saw in the first episode, I saw a Pinocchio ass looking ass nigga. Then I saw this box of wood for a face nigga. Then I saw this extendable eye ass nigga in this classroom. I was like, oh, the flabbergasted. How the flying fuck are you gonna use that in any way? I don't understand that shit. Stretching eyeballs. What are you gonna do? See, like, at least 20 times better than usual? The fuck you talking about? anyways, anyways. Deku would be working on this, and he would finish it successfully. Successfully. Anyways, finish it successfully, and he would sell it, and he would rake in those billions. So you remember people like Invisible Girl? Remember her from UA in class 1A, that invisible one? Yeah. She will not know about this because a lot of people didn't get too far. Only like people of high standards with high amounts of money, because his investors and his are selling it to people of high class, not low class people, without Deku's notice, or Deku doesn't notice it or doesn't know about it. But yeah, he's right. Damn it. He's raking on those billions though, low key millions, billions, and bajillions, bruh. I know that's not a number, but anyways, Deku would start training his body because he doesn't know what his quirk is. Because he never covered that. But no, they know what his quirk is. Fuck. He never really used his quirk. He only used his quirk about one time, and that was the first time they realized he had it. And because he created a purple flame, I'm not a purple flame, a green and black flame, and it worked more like acid than it actually worked like fire. But anyways, Deku decided to go in Training Field Gamma. Training Field Gamma. I'm calling it Training Field Gamma. Don't worry about it. Training Field Gamma to do not quirk evaluation, to do a quirk assessment. And by God, Deku's doing that quirk assessment. That's no cap. Anyways, Deku would be doing this quirk assessment. He would be going. He's gonna just try to use his quirk. Suyu, Toga, Momo, and Uraraka, Todoroki, female Todoroki, and Mina, which is the pink girl with the little horns with the black eyes and the yellow thing with droppers. Remember those? Yeah, they'll be actually wearing high school uniforms because Zehu technically doesn't go to school. Remember? And they kind of live with Deku, but when they're going to UA, they're gonna get their own house. Well, Deku's gonna get his own house, and cause Deku would need to like be close to UA, so they're building a map for him that's at least down the street from UA. So they're bringing like a tiny, not a tiny mansion, but like it's a decent sized mansion though, low key. Like I said, Deku's working in those billions. Anyways, now I need to explain something. I really need to explain something. How Deku's gonna look when his quirk is activated, because I never really covered it. At full capacity of his quirk, which he will cannot handle, and he's only gonna able to handle it when he gets one for all, and that's gonna be even more strain on his body because he have to use training for one for all. But he can not even use it for a very long period of time, maybe 3 to 2 minutes max. So Deku would start to power up. One strand of his hair will return a glowing green color. Veins, well, lines that look like veins, appear on his hands, glow, being a bright green glowing color. His eyes become glowing green also, and a green aura would come around Deku. Deku would try to see. He remembers using a flame, and he would try it again and said, "Nuclear flames." And green and black flames will combust out of Deku's hand, or Izuku's, and it would completely melt the robot that was in front of him. So they're test dummy robots. And Deku would flip back. Deku is wearing a skin tight sleeveless shirt with a black Adidas short pants. Not Adidas. It's a knockoff brand anime edition Adidas, because remember, anime technically cannot use the word Adidas. So they would just like putting another word, Bdidas. So like it would just have a Bdidas. But it's just a black Adidas pants, but like low key black and white Adidas pants. But anyways, with some sneakers, the sneakers they had in on the Canon, but it's just a little bit more slimmer. But anyways, Deku would be, well. No, I have a question. Would Deku? Well, not I have a question. Y'all would ask, would Deku ever be Bakugo? I would say yes to that, because this happened between the time he was in middle school. So, not behind between the time he was in middle school. This happened before, when he was technically in kindergarten, and after that he kind of changed after a while, because his quirk was showing signs of coming around of his increased intelligence. That was the first showing of his quirk. His increased intelligence all of a sudden. So Deku would then use, so you would meet Bakugo at some point. Well, anyways, he would then see if he can do anything with his quirk. He feels a push, and he decides to jump in the air. When he jumps, he starts to float. He starts to fly, and he wants to see how fast he can fly. He then charges up, making the veins glow. The lines on his body are lines that are shaped like veins. start to grow a furious green glow color, and Deku blasts off in a green streak. And he's just flying fast as fuck too. He then decides to stop and go back, and he goes back into training ground Gamma. Or it's basically gamma radiation is always there, so Deku cannot be affected by it. He's impervious to all gamma radiation or radiation in general, or radiation or poison, which he actually can use. But then try something else. You go to another robot and you would see if he can make a robot sick. Technically, okay, this robot is can function like humans can, and some if sickness would kill this robot basically. So Deku would place his hand on him, and and Deku would be able would pump radiation into his body, and black veins would start coming out of his bodies. His eyes would turn fully black, like everything in his eyes is black, and it would die. Like that's what gamma radiation did to him. So he's called that gamma radiation poisoning, and he feels one more push. He just feels a blast of sorts, an explosion of passion, if you know what I mean. He opens his hand and stretches out forward into a direction of a big robot and says, Karsk. And when he said that word, a big green and black explosion came from Deku's hand. Now, let me explain. This is called a nuclear explosion, which is just nuclear explosions. Nuclear explosion. This is the highest form that Deku's explosion can come, and the highest form an explosion can go. Nuclear bomb. And Deku can turn himself into a nuclear bomb. Like he could do that, and he could live. But he would then cause every bone in his single body to kind of go kablooey. He might die, but that's not if he had nuclear healing, which is like I'm just making it OP low key. I'm just making him OP. So Deku would be able to heal himself like right after that, but he has to use his full capacity to become a nuclear bomb, and he can survive the nuclear bomb. So like low key, he's one of the most dangerous people in the like world. Anyways, Deku starts to work out, and you can see in the thumbnail he has a cat. I'm gonna call this cat. Um, what is senpai? Yeah. I'm this cat, bro. Low key, I'm this cat. Okay, call him what is senpai. Okay, I'm not gonna call him Water Senpai. I can't. I don't know why would name his animal Water Senpai, but like low key, I really wanted to be that cat. Well, that sounds sus, because that cat is like really close to Deku. I'm saying I want to be a cat, like low key, bro. I get super lazy. I don't have to work for shit, but then I can't use my phone nor my computer. Nor can I see my friends. Damn it. There's some downfalls, but being a cat sounds like pretty chill, pretty cool. Anyways, Goku would not Goku. Deku would start to train on his body so he can handle full capacity because he realized that he was holding back heavily. He's about 75%. He can use 75% by now. This is what he actually looks like, but his muscles are compressed into his body, so you don't really see all the time. But the girls are still are training. Uraraka has learned. Let me go on to the girls' training. Uraraka has learned how to make something's gravity more heavier, 10 times gravity, make something like that, and make some 10 times lighter. Basic stuff. She's been working on her speed, being able to lighten certain parts of her body so she would go faster. um Toga. Now, I don't know if I should change Toga's quirk. Low key, I don't think I should. And I'm gonna put her in the spy course. Like, all heroes need a spy in some place, so she's gonna be taking the spy course, spy hero course. So yeah, she won't be in the same class as Deku, Odoraka, and Mina will be, and Tsuyu. Okay, so Mina, let's go. Mina can now pressurize her acid. So like low key, she it just doesn't like come out like it's a hard blast of acid. And she learned how to spew it out of her mouth and her hands, but she decides to spew it out of her mouth. And she also has a technique called acid bubbles, where she makes bubbles out of acid and send it towards people, and when they pop, acid is poured on them and they kind of like melt. So low key. Let's go with Suyu, and she can use her corrosive acid with her tongue. What that tongue do, low key. Anyways, she can use corrosive acid with her tongue, and she can actually handle Deku's radiation. They have figured this out. I figured this out when a time Deku accidentally pushed nuclear radiation into her. They weren't doing anything. They were just like he just touched her and accidentally put nuclear radiation. She thought she was going to die because it would have killed her for nuclear poison, but it didn't. She was able to actually absorb some of it, and she was able to kind of use some of Deku's energy, or nuclear energy. So she can actually Deku can technically heal her, and Deku's having an idea from this, but that's not what we're here for right now. Momo Ken is Momo has evolved her quirk. She doesn't need to know the genetic makeup of something no more. She needs to has a perfect image of it in her mind of what she's trying to create, and depends on what stamina. Yeah. And this time she's wearing a thin, skin tight, like layered clothes, because I don't know why she didn't decide to use that in canon. I, well, no, they were trying to give her fan service. Anyways, so Dick was not having none of that. So no fan service for nobody. Like he would create something that's it's technically her skin, so it would just come off her body low key. It wouldn't tear anything. It would just come off her body just like that. So she's wearing a thin skin tight layer, so like people won't see her chest or anything of the sort. So she doesn't really need to worry about like stripping really. Anyways, nuclear creation. So anyways, so she can make things if she has a visual, a perfect image of it in her mind. I'm gonna actually bring in Mei Hachime because they're gonna be a good duo because Mei is smart, Deku's smart, like Loki. She can create stuff to counteract his nuclear radiation and probably could harness his nuclear radiation for the energy that he puts off when he uses it and absorbs it and to make it into some kind of weapon. So, yeah. Let's say he met Mei and Mei's mother works for Deku's mom, and yeah, he has a good relationship with her and she actually likes him, blah blah blah. She gets put into the marriage too. Easy claps, right? So they're training, and Deku has has 75%, like I said, and it's the sledge vision attack. So Mel, this is where Deku would pick up that his tech is not like a few years ago. He figured out people has been harnessing his tech for themselves, and they've been selling off to higher bidders and not giving it to lower class people. And Deku was pretty mad by this because he particularly made it for everyone. He didn't make it just for certain people. He actually ended up firing the people that was support that. You remember those people that came to see his invention? Yeah, he hadn't fired them. He gave them a very good amount of money so he can live off of, because he just still respects them and is very thankful that they came. But he's not gonna have any of that. They understand why he like would be mad at that, so they just they just left it at that and left the company. So thank you. So everyone actually got the full blown news of the new tech that Deku created, and everyone's happy because people with mutation quirks often are picked on. So now Mina, let me give her an OC character. I'm not gonna like go up with a character. She's gonna have pink hair and on yellow eyes, but she would actually have the white in her eyes and not just being pitch black and then yellow eye. No, she would have the white in her eyes. Then it would be then it would be she would have not Snow White skin. She would have the same skin type like Todoroki. And her pink hair, the horns would go away. But she can turn back onto her mutation if she feels like it. So she has full control. So whenever she uses her acid, she turns into, I'm gonna call it her Majin farm, because she kind of looks like Majin Buu sometimes. So she's gonna call it her Majin farm, which is when she spews out acid and all of that stuff. So she's calling her Majin farm. And Suyu, she does have a mutation of sorts, but I don't know. 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 What she changed though? I'm not changing her. No. 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 So this is where people like Invisible Girl and all those people, the nigga with the tail, the nigga with the bird face, Mineta, like all of them, they're gonna change. They're gonna have Mineta's gonna have normal hair and be able to control his quirk and his mutation. She can turn off and on her invisibility. He can turn off and on his tail. He can he has black hair. The guy with dark shadow, that dude, he has black hair, and he has he has bird like eyes, and yeah, he has a normal face but just have black hair and bird like eyes, like man. So yeah, earphone jack girl, yeah, she has normal ears. So like everyone in you that had kind of had a mutation, yeah, they they godly now. Now, so this let's get into Side Vision attack. So that would end up happening the same, but Deku would end up melting him and actually giving him get radiation poison. Actually, ended up killing him. This is where All Might would come and Deku would say sorry, but All Might would realize this was in self defense and realize that this kid really honestly was very sorry. He didn't mean to kill him, and honestly, he had a good heart. And All Might decided, hey, he couldn't kill. So that he would tell Deku about his problem and his quirk, and that he wants him to be the new successor, and Deku would accept. Now Deku would be able to use the full capacity of his quirk at the end of the training. He would be able to use 100% of his quirk, and that's going to the first time he ever uses it. All Might says, Deku, young Midoriya, used full power this time, and Deku would go into a kind of a stance and then start to yell. He's almost like he's going. Super Saiyan. Anyways, his hair would start to float and kind of glow green. It would go in a bright green. Not like most of the times where one strand of his hair, a good chunk of his hair, like goes like green. One strand of his hair goes green, a very light green, glowing light green. Yeah, his whole hair does this time. His eyes become completely green. There's no sight of white in his eyes. There's completely green, glowing green color with glowing green aura coming off of his eyes. The veins on his hands become green and glowing, and it's just overwhelming, and you can just sense the power, and the floor is cracking, and then Deku falls out of it as he reached to his full state. Because I remember, this is like OP Deku, like that's a Deku that could destroy all for one. Like, he could, if he mastered his powers correctly, yeah, he could be off one, and he's gonna get one for all. No gap. So Deku would actually um have an idea. He would take All Might to his lab, like has, and tell him to get into that pot there. All Might would go into the pot, and Deku would go into a big container. Mina and the other girls would be there too, but Deku was going to the container. Deku would actually start to power up to full power, but he's not. He's just letting his aura ooze off of him. So the canister absorbing his gamma or his radiation, and so he would be able to stay in that far, but he can't use any of the powers because 100% capacity meant that he can use 100% doesn't mean that he can control it, nor does his body can take it. So as long as the machine is absorbing his radiation, he can stay into 100%. So then it starts to go into All Might, and no, it doesn't go into All Might. It goes into his wounds. Remember his arteries and all his belly was messed up. Yeah, it's going into that and healing it, making him a little bit more buffer, but also restoring him to his prime, but much buffer. His small might farm is buffer, and he is his one for all is more like a transformation quirk, so he can transform into All Might and then deform into Small Might. So um he kind of has that, and and yeah, All Might is happy. He can actually do hero work, so he can go 5 hours of hero work now into his full capacity. So low key, yeah. So Deku still gets one for all and still fights with all of them. That was the Yuri entrance exams. Now, Deku would do the recommendations, and he would do the exam, the practical exam. He would do the recommendation and the practical exam because he wants to see how both of them are. He would come first in the practical exam and the 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 recommendations. So Deku. So now Bakugo would still be the way he was in canon because Deku really did nothing to help that. Anyways, actually, to be honest, he'd be a little bit more worse than he was in canon, if that's even possible. I don't know how girls can like him. Like, I mean, actual real life girls can like Bakugo because this nigga told Deku to jump off a roof. A roof. I understand he looks good and all that, but like, this man looks like a porcupine. To be honest with you, he has the mental the calmness of a pencil, and that's not even a living thing that's being used all the freaking time. He has the rage of Karama when he met Madara, like low key. Jesus, like I don't know how y'all niggas could like Bakugo. He's not. I don't really think of him as a good character. His quirk is cool, but like I definitely don't like him. I don't like him. I don't think much people like him anyways. Like low key, let's be honest. I really don't like that Bakugo. I like female Bakugo though, but I don't like Bakugo. Anyways, Deku would still would go, and he would enter UA. Now, I when going into UA, Invisible Girl will show up. No, this is not a ship, but Invisible Girl will show up because technically Deku is her hero because Deku was the one that made the technology for her able to be seen actually. So she would go up to her. I think no, it is stated that she had yellow hair before she became invisible. So she wasn't born invisible, we know that. But when her quirk activated, she became invisible. So she had yellow hair and she had fair skin with blue eyes. Let's say blue eyes. So she thanked Deku, and Deku was kind of nervous because he never really got that. He was never really outside much or never had much fame. Well, not well. A lot of people loved him, but like he didn't know this. But this one we left off. Like most of my videos, I'm starting with Deku's like life in general, and then like after that, there's no buggy, no problem. But bye, guys. Have a great day.